All right, here we are, Kitchen Bros, episode what, 7? Bill
Like around
Kimberley's
7 now.
in the house.
Hey!
Hello.
All right, so once again, we're back. I'm Mike Kitchen.
I'm Blair Kitchen.
With us
Bill Kimberley.
Bill Kimberley.
excellent, our first virtual studio guest.
Really? I'm the first?
That's right.
Right, baby.
Right. Now, Bill does a, I don't know, I'll let them know, he does a webcomic called The Drive-In, tdi.ca, is that what it is, the website?
It is drive-in.ca, yes.
Okay, thedrivein.ca. All right. And way
So,
back when we started this whole thing, we were thinking it'd be fun just to talk webcomics versus paper comics and everything you've been going through versus everything we've been going through and try and figure out how we can conquer comic books.
Another family man who manages to, somehow, I don't know how you managed to do it, how long was it, a year and a half? Not missing a day?
Yeah.
What'd you get up to, 500
Over
days?
500. Yeah, just over 500. Probably less than 530, but over 500.
Jeez. Without missing a day with the wife and 2 kids, so.
Yeah, no, I didn't miss a day, but there was a couple glitches and a few days where comics didn't get posted maybe till later in the day. And there was one time when comics went 3 days without getting posted. But the worst part is they were actually done. It was technical glitches, and they were just sitting there, not being posted.
We have a soft spot in our hearts for technical glitches on this program, so we won't hold that against you.
Thank you.
So what made you start doing that in the first place? Why subject yourself to that kind of torture?
Probably, I guess, probably a compromise to begin with. My first idea was to do a web cartoon, and as you guys know, animation's a lot of work, and so my compromise was to do a comic. And then after I started doing the comic, before it was actually published, I wanted to get ahead by at least a couple weeks. It turns out I got ahead probably by about 2.5 months. But by the time it was actually published, I just simply wanted to see if I could keep it up for any length of time at all, and what I can do with the comic. And it actually, like I said, I got ahead by a couple months by the time I actually published. So I was like, yeah, I can do this.
Wow. Yeah. Now,
but it was really, you asked me why. It was really the idea. It was like, as creative people, you have lots of ideas in and out of your head all the time. And this one actually stuck. The drive-in is about 2 guys who commute together, which I was actually doing at the time. So it wasn't a very original idea. It just happened to be what I was doing. And I'm like, hey, I could do a comic about this. And so that's what you do as a creative person, is you wait for an idea to hit that you like enough that it's still with you the next day. And you're like, yeah, that was a good idea I had yesterday. And if it's with you after a week, then it's like, that must have been a pretty good idea.
yeah.
I think that's one thing that movies and stuff don't have, especially when you get big studio money behind you, is there's no culling process, right? Where you can just funnel millions of dollars into an idea that just is crap. Compared to, with independent artists, like with Spy Guy, that was something I did back in grade school. Blair, you did that with the Possum, right? And it's just these ideas that are constantly stuck. The idea was there.
Was when I was in grade 10 or something, yeah.
But it was good enough to stick with you all that time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's really the key. And unlike you guys, I didn't have that idea all those years ago, and it was just, I was always waiting. It's like, oh, I wish I had a great idea I could do something. I wish I had a great idea I could do something. And you wait until it hits you, and finally it does. You're like, now it's time to go. And that also goes back to what Blair said, is like, how could you keep this up for 500 days? And the want and the desire and the like of the idea.
Well, I just think just the workload in general is great. How did you do it? Did you end up? You said you had a 2.5 month leeway, right? And then did that whittle away really quick? For a while there, you were doing it the day of, right?
Yeah.
Each day you were actually doing a new comic, right?
Yeah. The leeway did go away really quick. The reason the leeway built as much as it did, because the idea was simply, if I can make one of these a day, then I can do it daily. And actually, before I go on, with webcomics, you have the option of not doing it daily. You can do it once a week or 3 times a week or whatever, 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But growing up on newspaper daily comics, to me, it's like, well, you do it daily. That's the way it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Of
I like
course,
that you even
those-
did it Sundays
They do that
too.
full time though.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
Or if you're
part of
Jim
the
Davis, you get other people to do it full time.
Yeah. He's got to sign all of them.
Oh yeah, that's
well,
all.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So I got ahead, very far ahead, and then it got to the point. It's like, okay, how do I get this online? How do I get this on the web? And then I started asking some friends, some people with a little more web knowledge, and then that just simply took time to get a website up, get it running, to figure out what I was doing with WordPress and all that stuff. So the initial launch was scheduled for October 1st, what was it, 10? I guess 2010. And it just ran late. It couldn't happen. And the way my comic basically works is usually a story starts on Monday and it runs through till Friday, and then on the weekend there's something different, then it starts all over again. So because I wasn't ready web-wise on October 1st, I'm like, okay, just push it right through until November 1st. So I put it off, and in turn it turned out better because just the days lined up better with what I had already written, what I had already drawn.
yeah, yeah. That's
And then a funny little thing happened because I was so far ahead. When Christmas came, I had no Christmas comics ready because those comics were scheduled for a month earlier. So if you dig into those first few comics, like the quality is really crappy at the start, and it gets better and better and better. Then Christmas comes, and all of a sudden it's really good, and then it drops back down again because by the time Christmas came, I had about 4 months worth of drawing behind me. So.
No, that's great. I mean, and one of the things I know, because you recently took a little hiatus from it,
Yes.
just to kind of catch your breath, which is well deserved, I think.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things that you were talking about is just the reason, like, if people are familiar with your comic, if not, they should check it out. We'll have the link below. But you kept it at a fairly rough stage, right? Like the first ones were just pencil, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever got to inking them. Did you? It was
No.
some of them you had a few colored specials and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's very few color ones, but a few.
Now, was that decision just like, did you struggle with it all? Like coming up with, okay, do I do, one a day in pencil, or do you do, maybe two a week, and maybe clean them up a little bit more, or like, how did you?
Yeah.
Was it just bare necessity that you not being able to finish them all?
No. The first ones were of an intended doneness.
Yeah.
So they were the quality that I wanted to deliver.
Yeah.
And what that was a basic rough drawing, pencil drawing, which I love that as an animator. I just love pencil drawings.
Yeah.
And my belief was that if the drawings are okay, but the characters are good and the stories are good and the jokes are good, then it doesn't matter what the drawings look like. And,
have you ever read Chippy and Lupus?
No.
Oh yeah, you know that comic?
John Sanford?
No, I don't know that.
That was probably the first webcomic I saw that was at a really rough stage, where it was, scribbled out pretty quick and colored in crayons and just posted up. And
well, they started out as what I could be wrong, John. If you're this is a 3 inch by 5 inch, or like small size, like they were on like little small strips of paper. They started out, and then but
post them on screen if I can find them. I know he changed his website, and because there used to be swearing and cursing, and it was pretty hardcore. And then he decided to kind of PG it, so now there's squiggle, censor squiggles and stuff. So I'm not sure if the old ones are still online anywhere or not, but maybe they're archived.
What was it called? The cola, Bobo.
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't seen any of that stuff.
No, okay. Well, you have to check them out. It's a little rabbit character, and then a dumb dog, like a wolf character.
Yeah, wolf.
So
And
Wolf,
that was just the first one where I could see, wow, you can really sell that kind of rough drawing as a
Right.
webcomic, just because the
Yeah.
ideas are so hilarious. Then,
and I know. Oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I have to
No.
find something.
Okay, I was gonna say I know you're talking about the story, like with Chippy and Lupus, and with yours as well. It's like I didn't even notice the rough drawings once you get into the actual stories, and if the jokes are good enough and the story's good enough, sometimes I mean that's what you notice. That's what it's the writing, which is great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to do at the start. And very, very quickly, very shortly after the start, looking at other webcomics and some of the very successful ones, and reading some books, and so getting more knowledge about webcomics.
Yeah.
I quickly decided that I needed to up the quality of the comic in general.
Yeah.
The writing was going to be what the writing was. It's the first thing I've written on a massive scale, so that's going to get better simply over time, or not.
Yeah.
Um,
Or you'll
but
use up all your ideas on the first year, and
yeah, exactly.
like some rock bands do. Their first
Exactly.
album.
Exactly, that could happen.
I found the
But
books I was looking for. Floyd Norman. Have you guys read those before? I know.
Oh
you
yeah,
have,
yeah.
right?
Faster,
So,
cheaper, and
yeah, Son
yeah,
of
I think
Faster,
I've read
cheaper.
that.
Floyd Norman was an old Disney artist back in the old timer stuff, right? But
Yeah, so it's
so
all
yeah, so
the
a lot of
studio
gag
gag drawings, which are just hilarious. And that's another one that's like super rough style, but just
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah, for sure. And John Sanford as well. He does Chippy and Lupus. He does he's in animation as well, and he's doing story for a long time. Anyways, I think he's assistant directing, or he's directing a show right now. But yeah, you can really tell that roughness is great. So, hey, we cut you off there, Bill. I think well, you were saying how upping the quality and stuff like that, right? Like you were thinking after doing.
After getting started, actually, by the time I actually published my first ones, the quality my current working quality was up like 100%.
Yeah.
So I have the option at that point to redo everything I've done, or just put it out, and 2 or 3 months later, people will see the quality.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work. So I was putting it out the way it was. I wasn't trashing nothing.
Yeah.
So I released that stuff, and it got better so slowly. I don't think anybody really noticed.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't either until I think I don't know if we were emailing or something like that, and you mentioned about you're thinking about this whole hiatus, about whether or not you should go color or take a break or whatever. And I went back and looked at some of the first ones, and there is a big difference of it. But as someone who read it day to day, I never noticed the difference. Such a unless you have a few of the color ones, like that they're.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not stupid. I know it's color, but
it's like watching your kids grow up. You don't see it because you see them every day.
Yeah, and you look at a photo from 2 years ago, you're like, holy smokes.
You know what's weird is I've made as many children as I've made comic books.
You gotta.
That's crazy.
The conclusion. You gotta have more children, Mike.
I know. I got another comic I gotta print.
You gotta start having more babies. You're gonna have a lot of work ahead of you if you're gonna get to issue 100.
I have to say, I'm glad I don't have as many babies as I have webcomics.
Yeah. You'd have to have some more wives or something, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then you can't support that many wives on webcomics, though. So.
No. No, that's true. I can't support one on webcomics, so I know enough to support 500 mouths or more. Not gonna happen.
No. You go weekly for that if you're keeping pace.
That'd be one hell of a peanut army, though.
Yeah,
you could do the whole Jim Davis thing. Just sign your name.
Get them to sign it. They got the same genes, so I bet they could do a pretty mean signature. No.
So are you going to go to print?
No, I don't think so.
I have no collection of all the stuff you've got done.
It needs work. What I had planned on doing a collection of the first 100 or so for an ebook, like a Kindle or a Kobo or something like that.
Right.
And I did a lot of work actually to get to that. And like I assembled like the first book basically. And when you transform that to the Kindle format, what I found was because the Kindle and the other ebooks have kind of a grayish kind of computer screen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And because my early comics were pencil, light gray on dark gray on medium gray, it just you couldn't read it anymore on a Kindle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just died. It was just unreadable, and I'm like, oh.
Hmm.
So I started working towards remedying that. Kind of an equation would be I remastered it, like some of the early strips. Probably about the first 6 weeks have been remastered, like if you consider like a music kind of equation.
Yeah.
So I went in and I cleaned up some of the scribbles. I made some of this darker, some up the contrast a lot on stuff. Made some adjustments to the text because the early comics, the texts were shades of gray even, and I'm like, you just can't read it. You know, and it was my artistic kind of thought at the beginning is like, I don't want to be just another typical black ink, black. So,
Yeah.
and it really kind of backfired and bit me.
Oh,
in
that's
the
why. Oh, that's why they do things black in ink. Oh.
Exactly. But
I'm
as
looking that
an
we're at the 15-minute mark. Do you have to reset the camera?
let me go see. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right. You're on the ball, Mike.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold this all together
Yeah.
with duct
Someone
tape
has to.
and pure
Someone has
will,
to.
pure rage
Rage.
holds together the Kitchen Bros comic book podcast.
That's right.
Yeah, so it ran out. It did run out, but I don't know how long. Probably not too much because you're right. It's about there.
That's fine.
So,
We're used to this kind of thing.
That's
Might-
right. That's 3 in a row.
Woo!
Technical glitches.
Well, I guess we should be glad that digital cameras aren't limiting to 9 minutes because that's what the old YouTube video length was.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm not looking into my video camera. I'm looking at you guys.
That's okay. I'm looking
Fine.
at the computer screen too. Just do that. That's what we never look into the camera. Isn't that the rule? You're not supposed to look directly into the camera. You'll go
Except
blind
for a very dramatic moment when you want to talk directly to the viewers.
There you go.
Hello, people.
TV land. So, where were we?
So how do we do this, Bill? I want to quit my day job in animation and become a millionaire comic book artist. What do I do?
Web comic book or regular paper comic book?
Anything. I'll make a web comic if
Really,
I find my other.
He doesn't care how he gets his millions. He just wants the millions.
Yeah. I think maybe marrying Stan Lee is probably about the best way to go about it.
Hey, you can do that now, right, Obama? Isn't that what we're? I think that's. I'm getting closer to my dream of marrying Stan Lee. So, everything's falling into place.
Oh man, this is gonna put bad ideas out there.
No. I'm not marrying Stanley, Rochelle. I'm not leaving you for Stanley. Just to make this clear, I'm
Spider-Man.
I don't like mustaches. Sorry. So,
But is it just me, or has anybody else noticed that Obama is in favor of the gay marriages on an election year?
yeah, I know. I found that quite odd too. Someone's doing his the publicist is working.
Yeah.
Right? He's making money.
He probably really wanted to do this 3.5 years ago, and somebody's like, no, put that on the back burner. We'll need it in 3.5 years.
I thought he just kind of decided he changed his mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the question about making the millions. Whether it's paper and what I know is web, because I've spent more time in it, but I really believe marketing is the key, and I believe that has been at least 50% of my failure as a webcomic artist is marketing, because it's just getting people to the product, and to do that you need to spend time on marketing. And I did a fair amount of research on marketing to find out how I could do a better job of it. And what I really found was, what it really came down to was you need to spend about 50% of your time on marketing, no matter what your product is, whether it's comic or whatever. And
that
as you
means
guys
it's going
know,
to be 4 years to make a Spy Guy comic.
Yeah.
exactly, that's exactly it. And like you guys know how much work it is to make a comic of any sort. And to
Yeah.
do it daily, for me, I didn't have 50% of my time to spend marketing. I barely had the time I needed to actually complete a comic daily.
Yeah.
So I couldn't market it. And you know, whether that involves putting more money in it, whether it just involves making more contacts, inquiring with other people on the web, talking to more people, it just takes time that I simply didn't have.
Yeah.
So what are
But
your
that,
the marketing solutions? Any big plans or strategies or success stories that you've observed from other people?
no.
That takes another 50% of your time to actually find out how to market.
Exactly.
That's 8 years to do a Spy Guy comic.
Yeah. So, I know for me, I've kind of set in stone, like, it just kind of in my mind, I think, you know, originally, you know, as you're doing a comic book and, you know, I was hoping the kind of traditional distribution methods might work. You know, if you work hard enough, you can get into Diamond and then, you know, get in the comic shops and things go from there. But I know I've kind of given up on that model, you know, doing the conventions and building a fan base that way. I just find it doesn't build fast enough. It's not.
It can only go so far.
It's a tread like you're without. Well, first of all, getting into Diamond is ridiculous. If you have a print comic, it's near impossible. And then once you're in, I mean, anyone that I've seen is, you know, you're never making money, even if you are in, and it's, you know, you're not meeting the minimums and all this stuff. It just seems everything is stacked against you in that model. It seems almost impossible. And then with the conventions doing that, it's like there's no way you can build enough followers at conventions alone. It just doesn't. Well, we found over the years we built a small following, and it's just kind of stayed the same. You lose some, you gain some. You know, we're just kind of making table costs. It's not. It just doesn't really. There's no momentum being built, and part of that is, you know, getting stuff out regularly. Where, say, with print comics, you know, like you said, it takes a year to do. On average, most people doing the comic books like the way we are, it takes about a year to make one, right? 24 pages, whatever. And that's just not recent enough. So I think I've kind of decided I'm going to start putting stuff up online once I get all the website stuff ready. I mean, online is this place that you have to build a following with Twitter, with Facebook, all that stuff.
I think it's really like launching a military operation where the webcomic is almost like the aerial bombardments, where you're just like flying over and dropping bombs every day just to get things out there. Yeah. And then the print is almost like sending in the ground troops, right, where you're occupying territory and physical space. But you need to have that kind of back and forth where you need some sort of real world artifact that people can hand around and hold on to and stick on their shelves. Then you also need that web presence, which we've been unsuccessful doing.
And the thing is, with
the website, but there's nothing there.
The great thing about webcomics, though, is that the web presence, it can be every time you get a page done, you put it up, and then you can tweet, "Hey, I got a new page up," and you can Facebook it, and you can constantly be there. You know, like I've had it in the past. I had my issues. They still are through my store. You can read all the issues right now online. I don't think people really read them there because they don't have enough time to, you know, sit and read for 20 minutes online. They'd rather just go to a website, see a page, and then click off between breaks at work. And then the other thing is that I can't tweet every day, "Hey, go read my comic," and the next day, "Hey, my comic's still up there. Go read it." Hey, it's still there. You know, it just at least with a page every so often, you have a reason to be tweeting and getting your stuff out there. So.
Then Dave Sim was saying that it was the whole idea of habitual entertainment, where it's kind of like the mouse in the maze, where if he knows where to get the cheese, he'll go back there each time and hit the button to get the cheese. Where it's like people are almost programmed like that for comic books, and that kind of any sort of habitual entertainment. Whereas I know I can get a new comic here today, so that'll be one of the places I check. But the moment it's not hitting that schedule, then that's when I won't check that anymore.
Yeah, and I think like Blair is just mentioning that you have to be consistent. You can't put up a page today and then 3 weeks from now put up another page and 2 days after that put up a third page. Like you have to, whether it's once a week or daily or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like Mike was just saying, people want the cheese.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have some kind of schedule, whatever that schedule is. And with the social media aspect, as great as it is, it's also not great for exactly what Mike just said and what you just said is you can't tweet every day, oh, go see my comic, oh, go see my comic.
Yeah.
And I did almost all my marketing through Facebook.
Yeah.
And I could literally watch my numbers go up and down with whether I was or was not making a Facebook post.
Yeah.
And some days, even if I made a Facebook post, I didn't see any reaction on my daily numbers. And I was like, okay, I've been saying too much lately. Just leave it alone for a couple weeks. And then a couple weeks later, it's like, oh, I just put up a new comic regarding this, blah, blah, or my favorite character or your favorite character's back. And then the numbers would spike, but they'd fall back down to what you guys said about conventions is you go and you push and you push and you push, but not a lot of people are staying. You're gaining some, you're losing some. It's just maintaining consistency. And things spike. And with the social media, maybe I wasn't doing it right. Maybe I wasn't doing enough. Maybe I just wasn't hitting. Like I don't tweet. And I know there's some other there's some other avenues that you can pursue, like the Google Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
But I figure everybody that I know, everybody that I'm tweeting to or Google Plusing to, I'm already Facebooking to. So
yeah. I think with the Twitter though, you do get the good thing about Twitter is that it's so easy for someone to hit retweet and just you retweet a thing. I see a lot of webcomics on Twitter being retweeted and things like that. So if you can get,
especially if they're about Batman.
Right? Yeah, that's another way to do it. Put a popular character in your.
Did you have any comic that was you found was very successful? Like, was there any, kind of like lightning strike moments?
Out of what I did?
Yeah, that just kind of connected to people and got good buzz or traffic spikes to a specific comic.
Yeah, there's a few. For people who aren't familiar with my comic, there's adult situations, language, nudity, whatever. I tried. There's no hold bars, and I found that when I would do something with nudity or foul language or that, then that's when it did spike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes, like if I found
Spy
I was
Guy's
getting
going rated R next issue.
Well, yeah, exactly. If I didn't have any success on Facebook, and like I said, you'd put up, hey, check out my comic, and nobody would really go, and then I'd say, oh, yesterday, guess who's naked, and then boom, like my number, my numbers would triple. Yeah.
Wow. I just decided my next issue is going to be naked Batman getting gay married by Obama. Is it good? Is it magic?
Yeah. It's golden.
I think it's spiking right now. Your
Woo!
site.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, on that note, in the Possum #2 when the midget wrestler gets his underwear ripped off, that's been the consistent hit with the 8-year-old crowd. So
yeah, absolutely.
naked midget wrestlers is apparently nudity sells for all ages. So
it does. Yeah. They're just interested in a different aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think one of the most popular and most talked about and retweeted or Facebook comic that I had was probably when I introduced my Beaver character, Nicole Beaver. Yeah. And people love that. I had friends who changed their Facebook picture to the beaver. And,
oh no!
Yeah, people really dug that one.
That's cool.
I know one that Blair mentioned to me once that he liked was in the first week, and I had people subsequently talking about it, was when I'm kind of explaining how cartoon characters, you don't draw the parts you don't see. And Richard is concerned that whether or not he has balls, and so he sticks his rear end towards Frank, and he's like, "Just tell me, are my balls there?" And Frank's like, "Sit down."
Because at this point they were always in the car, right? So you always saw them from the.
You only see them from the waist up, or from the chest up, really. So he's standing on his seat. It's just an impossible thing. So I had
the Muppets can't say the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They were hitting the 30-minute mark. If you want to check the camera.
I think I got another
4 minutes.
Let me double.
Yeah, the other one was a little late, so we're probably okay.
Yeah. There's 6 minutes left.
Oh wow.
6 minutes, so that is, math is hard. Just looking at the clock on the wall, trying to figure out what that is.
Just pretend you're filling out your invoice. Math comes easier. That's all I know. I do it for filling out an invoice. I know how to.
Why does it keep rounding up?
Math right. Yeah. Yeah, you round up after 1, 2, rather than 5.
Took me 10 hours.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say too, because I'm thinking about all the webcomic stuff now, and a lot of the stuff is black and white that I have. I wouldn't be able to recolor everything, but I know the Captain Smith and Broccoli Boy strips that I've been doing. Part of me is like, I wonder if that's worth try coloring if you're gonna put it up on the web or not. It's the same kind of thing as what you were thinking, where it's like right now they're inked, but they're black and white.
Yeah. At least if they're inked, once you scan them, that makes them a lot easier just to hit fills and color them that way. Because mine are my drawings are pencil, so I just can't fill the empty space because it leaks and it bleeds and there's cracks and So
you get that stuff depending on how you ink it. You get sometimes you run into the same situation.
I always love black and white comic books, especially paper ones. Big fan of all the different manga stuff. Big fan of Cerebus, and I like the whole pulp feel with the Spy Guy comics. But with the web comics, especially as soon as there's been a black and white one that's gone color, it's always made such a huge impact on me. Like when PvP went color the first time, or I guess they were doing the Sunday strips originally or something like that. But when he'd start doing that full time, suddenly it's like, wow, this is so much nicer to look at. Then Greg Hyland, when he started doing the Lethargic Lad in color, because he had a very loose style. But then as soon as he started putting color to it, since it's a superhero parody, suddenly it's the more visual impact. You just look at it and go, wow.
I think that makes a difference too with the superheroes. Superheroes seem to work well with that. But,
I totally agree with both of you, but as a web thing, I feel that people kind of look at black and white and go, huh, and people look at pencil and go, huh. I mean, we're just so used to such a cleaned up digital age, thanks Pixar, that you just can't, yeah, exactly. You just can't draw anything. People aren't interested in your drawing. And like as Blair mentioned, I'm on hiatus right now, and one of the things that I've wanted to do while being on hiatus is decide whether or not I can move forward and maintain what I love about this comic. Like, yes, I can go forward with a drive and do it in color, but what am I going to lose? I'm going to lose all the drawing. I'm going to have to go to a flash base or a Toon Boom based situation where I'm reusing heads, I'm reusing mouth positions, eye positions.
Just for time, you mean? Just to keep it going.
Just to keep it doing. I cannot draw it, clean it up, and color it. It's to do what I'm doing, but to do it in color would add probably another at least 10 hours of work.
You need leprechauns.
I do.
They'll help a lot.
I'm going to get the kids flipping in Photoshop in the next couple of years, then maybe I'll be back in color.
I got my daughter training her drawing birthday cards. Next step's coloring comic pages.
That's something that's interesting is the whole idea of taking shortcuts, because like for me it feels like if you're not drawing every panel, you're kind of cheating. But I was looking at that Elephant Man thing Dave Sim did, where he just kind of took a photograph of the city, photocopied it, put it on and just kind of inked around parts of it, and it's like, hey, you got a full cityscape.
Inked over the actual photocopy of a photograph to make it look like an ink drawing, which is kind of.
And then,
neat thing.
what's the name? Ethan Nichol, is that it? What's his new comic called?
Bear Mageddon.
Because he was using like Google SketchUp and all that for it, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
So, because I've
a lot
always
of
admired his comics. There's some with like bikes and cars. Like, wow, those are really well drawn. Like, the draftmanship's just amazing. And then you realize, he just got a bike from a Google library and stuck it in. And it's like, what? That's cheating, but it works.
You still have to draw over top.
You do,
right?
but it's just these different.
But your perspective is
right.
Yeah,
I remember Gerhard and Cerebus. There's one where he just did some like big sprawling background, and then they just photocopied it and reused it throughout the comic. It's like, that is cheating, but it's brilliant.
Yeah. Or even what Dave Sim has been doing. He did the Elephant Man one where it's just one illustration, right? And no, I don't know if that's what you're getting at. One illustration. 6 minutes is up. No, we'll just keep.
Yeah,
keep going. Okay.
I think the camera might be dead.
That's okay. We'll use a whole frame for the end.
Oh. Hold on.
Probably wrap it up
in
a few minutes anyway.
The screen just blanked out on me, and I guess it was probably just this. Oh, I'm playing it. I'm not recording, I'm playing.
How do you look?
Wow. Kind of horrible. The worst part is, I pressed play. Let's go to the menu. No, that's not the one.
Because we're not going to edit any of this out. This is keeping this raw.
I wouldn't. Well, the worst part is it's my wife's camera, right? So I don't. I have no idea how to use any of this stuff.
Luddite.
Manage picture.
Well, do we have anything else to say? Should we just wrap it up?
Well, we got to at least get Bill back here first, and then we'll we'll just walk away on Bill.
If he's not in frame. Does he even exist if he's not in frame?
I think Bill went to bed, Mike. I don't know.
Nice.
He just left. I think we pissed him off.
All too easy.
No, I'm still here. I just don't know how to get the camera going.
Don't worry about it.
You've given up this easily, have we?
You know what? Truthfully, I don't even know how to turn our camera off. So she's gonna have a dead battery in the morning.
Oh, that's
all right. She won't mind.
Blame Mike. Tell her it was Mike's fault.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take the blame.
Mike, why did you do that?
I don't know. Seemed like the right thing to do at the time.
Oh well, at this part you can just put a picture of like Fabio or something where my picture was. Sorry, it's not going. The camera's done. I have no idea how to.
Oh, that's all right.
He's going to animate South Park mouths. This was his great idea. Anytime we don't have a picture, he hasn't done it yet though.
No, I got no time. That's another 50% of my time going to animate South Park mouths on podcasts. I should be marketing. I need to be marketing and drawing comics. Hey, did you ink anything, Mike, since last podcast?
No.
Any comics?
Are you kidding?
What?
I was working on the Go Train a little bit. It was actually the last bit of...
that counts.
Yeah, the big climax. What would it be called? The end. Prologue, epilogue. Epilogue, that's the word. I even took my alpha brain before this, and I'm still fading, but that's okay. But yeah, there's the big dialogue moment. Between Spud and Spud, getting all that nailed down.
Okay,
that's
the rule. We gotta at least get some forward progress on our. I roughed out 2 pages.
It doesn't count if it's not in ink.
Oh, right, no, Bill? But it's 2 pages.
Well, I don't know.
I was like,
a guy who's inked like about 4 minutes worth of drawings in his entire life. So
I did what Bill did with inks. I stockpiled them for about a month, so I'm good. I got a stockpile of inks going. I'm gonna withdraw those as time goes on.
that's the way I always work. I mean, you get in the one mode, right? And it's like, okay, I'm gonna go through and do all the roughs. I'm gonna go through and do all the cleanups. I'm gonna go through and do all the, you know.
Is that an animator thing? Because I can't work any other way. I have to do that for a comic. For this one, I tried to do it. I got to about page 3. Then on page 4, I was trying to do some background stuff, and it looked like crap. I was like, forget it. I'm not even touching inks until I figure this damn comic out. And I haven't made anything else
exactly.
I find I have to do that. I have to go through page 1 to page 24, and I can't, even if I have an idea for the ending or whatever, I can't work on that until I've done everything in sequential.
That's actually
order.
one of the things for doing the webcomic that I really want to do it for, is to force myself to try and finish a page. Because that way I can post it on it. So at the end of the week, the page has to go up. And that's it. No way around it. No excuses.
That's having a deadline is an excellent motivator.
Yeah. And I find, you know what? I find no matter what the deadline is or how crazy it is, my work really doesn't look that much different. If I spend 3 times as long on it, it doesn't really make that. I'll notice little things, but to the average person, like, it really doesn't matter. No, and I keep telling myself that, but then I can never force myself to leave little things out. I don't know. Yeah.
I find for me, it depends on what the project is and what the medium is, because in pencil, I'll leave things because just like you just said, it's not getting much better. I can erase and I can draw it again. I can draw it again and erase it again. It's not getting much better. But digital, then I'll finesse the hell out of digital. It's like, oh yeah, I can blow this up on my screen so I can only see 3 pixels, and now I can manipulate them.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll erase little bits here and there. And
Man. And I think that's part of digital, right? And it's what I just said about Pixar is there's no forgiveness for the lack of perfection when it comes to digital.
Yeah.
You've got all the time in the world, all the tools in the world. The tools do have to work themselves, so it's got to be perfect.
Yeah, and you can zoom in 5,000% if you want.
I know.
Whereas, really, if you're drawing, you can squint a little bit, but that's about your pen's not getting any thinner. So
you can flip your page upside down and look at it, but
yeah. All right, guys. Well, how long have we been going for, Mike?
Yeah, we've got 42 minutes on this so far.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So let's finish this off. How do we save comics? Let's fix the entire comic industry in the last 2 minutes. Bill, what do we do?
I don't know. I really don't. I think it's kind of a wonderful thing what's happening right now, because web is so available, and now it's just made it like for me, I couldn't have gotten my comic printed in a newspaper, so I was able to get it up online, and some people came and read it every day for over 500 days, and that's amazing. I'm so grateful to those people, and it really does make you feel special that I was able to entertain some
That is
people.
what makes it all worth doing, isn't it? As soon as somebody actually responds and says, "Hey, I read that and I really liked it," or even hell, I read it and I didn't like it. Who cares? Well, just thanks for taking the time to.
You read it?
Even look at it.
Great. Yeah. And comment about it. Once you get negative criticism, that's when you know people care a little bit about it.
Exactly. I had a job, 2 jobs ago, and one of the art directors, not mine particularly, it was for a game, and I did 24 backgrounds for this game. They only wanted to use 10, but they gave me all this time in the world, and so I'm just like, okay, I'll do another one. They'll tell me when to stop. When they give me another project, I'll stop. But so we reviewed like all 24 of them, and we got to one, and this art director's like, I hate this one. I loathe it. He despised it. He hated it so much. And afterwards, when somebody else is like, "Oh man, that must have been tough listening." His name was Bill too. Must have been tough listening to Bill hate your work. I'm like, that was awesome. Do you know the feelings that I created in that guy? It was so rewarding. Yeah, he hated it, but he loathed it. I mean, I drew real
He
emotion. It was a really kind of a
Do you
great
think Rob
feeling.
Liefeld gets off on that?
I don't know who that is.
know
So
Rob
I
Liefeld?
won't comment.
Oh, you just made him cry,
Rob
Bill.
Liefeld, Oh
You
no!
remember the
The
Image
90s.
comic,
Oh.
Youngblood and X-Force? And...
Do you remember that back in the Image? He's one of the Image founders, but
Wow.
he's taken a lot of slack over the years for
What were you doing
not
in
drawing
college,
feet
Bill?
and drawing really small heads. Yeah.
Well,
we won't go
here-
there.
so I think to save comics is you just let it go, because there's so many more people doing it. And like you said, some of the comics are so rough, but if they're funny, who cares what they look like? And now the medium is just letting everybody do it, and
well, that's
some of it will float.
Yeah. The thing is now, I was thinking like back I don't know, 40 years ago, pre-internet or whatever. I mean, there's always this talk about like the American dream, everyone has a chance. Really, that was BS.
Yeah,
Really.
no, they don't.
I mean, because you would have a chance to make it big if one of these big corporations picked you up and they promoted you. If you could get on TV, or you could get to the
What happened to
gatekeepers, right?
Nicholas
But
Tesla,
now-
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Tesla. But but really, I mean, but that was the perceived thing. Now, I think with the internet, really, you have a chance to reach millions of people just with nothing but a website. If your stuff's good enough, I mean, it all comes down to just doing the best damn thing you can do. But but really, you have a chance to get noticed. You have a chance to get seen. You have a chance.
It's
all that stuff.
leveled. It's
So-
leveled the playing
It
field.
has, yeah.
Now the one thing, I mean, you have the chance to get read and seen. The idea is now to monetize that somehow, so that you can keep doing it, because everyone I know doing comics has a well, not everyone I know, but most of them I know have other jobs.
Well, big
right?
thing. This
And,
is one of,
I know Ethan Nicole, who does Axe Cop and Bearmageddon and that. I mean, he said plenty of times, he's like, I can still make more being a manager at Starbucks.
of course, he's got a cartoon now, though. I wonder if he's getting money off that.
Yeah, but
the thing I
he's
think is
still
missing is that when you go through a corporation, you have this team of thousands of people behind you and millions of dollars behind you. Whereas when you're doing independent art, it's just you. And it's just you kind of crying out into the wilderness and hoping somebody hears. But if you start forming together with other artists and forming a tribe, then suddenly you have like your posse, right? You have your clan, you have brothers in arms that are going out there to slay the beast. And if you start forming together as a group and promoting each other's work and cross-promoting, like I've found so many different neat things through Cerebus, because Dave Sim was always plugging other people's independent works and the Spirits tours and all that kind of stuff. But I really think there needs to be some sort of resurgence in that. Like I even think it was neat with Doug Tenaple and Ethan, and like there's doing even little cross promotion between themselves. But you just form like a group that, because it's almost like the Borg. I keep thinking of that with independent artists, where there's way more of us than there are of them. But everybody's fragmented. Yeah. But the moment you start pulling together, then you just become this massive collective that could take over the world. That's where
the social media comes in, right? With Facebook and Twitter and that, right? Because that you can promote each other's stuff, right? Anytime, Bill makes an update, I can retweet it to my 50 followers. But then it grows. But maybe one of them has thousands of followers. So anyways, but you can, like, just by a few people retweeting it, exponentially gets to thousands of people, right?
It can. In my experience, it didn't, but
it will.
It can.
It
Season
will.
2.
Yeah.
See, well, I always also too, like, I know I had a few things working against me, and it's the same things that actually were working for me. Is pencil drawings, black and white, adult situations, language, and nudity. Those things work against me too, because Mike mentioned somebody earlier who went PG kind of after, and like I could do that with the drive-in and potentially hit bigger audiences, because I know people don't want to click on my comic at work and maybe have boobies pop up on the screen, even if they're cartoon boobies, which actually might be worse. So that works against that worked against me. I think that's
Well,
my belief.
do you know
Yeah,
who
yeah.
Seth Godin is? He's like a
No, I don't.
marketing guy, and he's just did some thing called the Domino Project. But anyways, one thing he's been talking about with the new media, the way things are now, is that you almost have to get into a micro niche, because there's, the mainstream is so huge and everybody's going after that piece of the pie. But if you can narrow in on that, tiny segment of people who like, rough pencil drawings with bad language and cartoon nudity, like,
Mhm.
you
Then
can
that's your audience.
you can dominate that market.
Take over
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, and that still comes down to marketing. You've got to find those people or make yourself able to be found.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have a friend that's actually doing very, very successfully with cartoons with fish off Doc Tunes, right? And she's really hit that kind of, her micro niche is, fishing shows and things like that, doing cartoons about these, fishing, right?
Right.
With fish, and she's actually being very successful with T-shirts and and all that stuff, and that's a case of hitting the the micro niche. Now I don't know financially what she's doing, but it seems to be kind of really hitting that market. So that's a case of it actually working. Now the thing is that obviously that micro niche is something that you have to be interested in and want to dedicate your time hitting, right? But it's finding that.
One thing I liked
thing,
about
yeah.
talking with Dave Sim is just how pragmatic he is about all this stuff. It's like, well, I'll try this and see if that works. No, that didn't work. Okay, well, let's try this. Let's try Cerebus TV. And now he's canceled that, so now I guess he's thinking, well, maybe that didn't work. So now he's going to start auctioning things off on his, Dave Sim Art blog. So now he's doing that, I guess, to help subsidize his comic, like getting Glamour Puss and all that. But it's just trying things. Like, I don't know, like us doing this podcast, I don't know if it's going to work, but hey, let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's see if people want to hear us ramble on for 52 minutes about all this stuff.
52 minutes, longest one
Woo!
yet.
I kind cut it in half for a two-parter.
Yeah.
I kind of look at the drive-in as maybe exactly that for me. I tried it, and I'm very happy and pleased, and I thought it was successful for, like, in my heart, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it didn't gain any great popularity. I didn't make any money off it, which again isn't a bad thing. The only bad thing about that is it started eating into my family's life.
That's the hard part.
Time spent with my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's bringing in money, then that's acceptable. But it wasn't. So I had to decide. It's like, okay, do I continue on this and potentially get it to a point where I'm making money, or do I say maybe this is my Oswald the Rabbit? Maybe it's just time to cut the strings on this one and search for my Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
So-
it's hard too. I mean, Seth Godin as well, he talks about the dip, right? And it's that point where it seems like everything, that point where most people give up, and the point where everything's kind of working against you. And if you can trudge your way through that, then you can come out of that and actually, kind of do really well coming out of that. Now it's hard because sometimes there is, some ideas you just have to give up on. Some ideas
Sometimes
you
it's
keep
not a
going
dip.
forward.
It's
How do you
actually
know?
a cliff, right?
Yeah, it's a cliff. So how do you? But see, was that him who also had the book about quitting? And it was, or was that the dip? Was that the same book?
I think it was
About,
something else.
about knowing when to quit.
Yeah.
So you have to. There are things that you have to quit at as well, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, this is.
What's amazed me how many artists
Quit it.
that are really good, they don't have families, they don't have wives, and they don't have children. Or if they do have wives, they're wives that have executive jobs and bring home all the money so they can screw around with comics.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
I needed one of those. Why didn't I know this? Why didn't we have this podcast before? 11 years ago. I could have married Stan Lee, and everything would have been good.
We didn't have Obama back then.
Curses.
Oh, Obama.
Was it?
Well,
Liberals or conservatives? And
all right. Well, anyways, I think we should wrap this up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we're going nowhere good now, so it's only downhill from
Do
here.
you want to leave some sort of plug there,
hitting the
Bill?
Yeah, tell us what you're up to. What are you plugging these days?
Nothing, because as we said, the comic's on hiatus.
But you
maybe
can
Go
check
back
it
to the
out.
first one.
You can still check
through.
it out.
How many are there? 500?
Over 500. So
That's great.
yeah,
Funny.
it's at thedrivein.ca, and I am currently in the situation: do I go back to it? Do I not go back to it? I do have a few other ideas cooking, so I might pursue something else. And if I do that, I'm going to pursue something that is more drawing and less computer. Whereas the drive-in, I had as much time assembling it on the computer because Mike mentioned about reuse of some stuff, and I did reuse backgrounds, like the car and all that stuff. So everything had to be assembled. So my next project, and one of the things I was considering for the drive-in was, do I find a way to do it where it's completely drawn, except for maybe the text? So that's where I am right now, is trying to figure out how to move forward, continue drawing comics, because that's what I really love. I love telling stories. I love creating the characters. Having people read my stuff daily was amazingly satisfying.
Yeah.
But what I really love the most out of any of that is drawing. And I can do the drawing. The drawing isn't the time consuming. It was assembling. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at.
And then how's it going to get out there then without the computer? Are you still doing the computer? Is that the thought?
I would still do a webcomic. Where the computer, it was all in assembling, right? Because I have to scan, I have to cut characters out, I have to put them on layers, add the background.
What you're thinking now is just get the art finished so you can just basically scan it and it's done, hands off after that.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly the kind of project I'm considering right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. I like that.
Simply more drawing.
Yeah.
Because that's
how about inking?
Yeah. I will probably ink it. Yes.
Now we'll have to talk about it once it's gone live again.
Yeah. Woo! Get drawing.
Yeah.
All right, we have Bill Kimberley, Blair Kitchen, Mike Kitchen. This has been Kitchen World.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Good job. All right. Woo. See you later. Let's go.